Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by a distinguished guest, Gbenga Ogunjimi, the Executive Director of the Nigerian Center, to discuss the upcoming documentary, Perception, the Nigerian Narrative. So this series explores the stories, challenges, and successes of Nigerians living in America, and it's set to premiere on October 1st, 2024 in Washington, D.C. This documentary offers a unique perspective exploring identity, culture, and community through the lens of Nigerian Americans. Mr. Gbenga, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Let's get started. Tell me how you got involved in the making of this film.
Perception, the Nigerian Narrative, was created and directed by award-winning filmmaker Oluyinka Davids. And Oluyinka Davids was exploring the global brand identity of Nigeria. And what does it mean to be a Nigerian living in the United States? Obviously, we, the Nigerian Center, we are so thrilled to co-produce this documentary. And because Nigeria is a hot topic in any part of the world, particularly in Washington, in the United States, so we think the country has a perception issue. And this documentary has done a phenomenal job giving us the opportunity to reclaim the authority of telling our own story in the words that we choose to tell our own story. So it's a fantastic project. We are so thrilled to be a part of this.
Yeah, no, it's very needed. I think I was this morning I was seeing a clip from Andrew Schultz's podcast where they were kind of talking about Nigerians in a very negative way. And when I saw that, I said, this is why this project is very much needed, because people need to be more informed. Now, tell me a little bit about some of the people involved in the documentary. I was able to see the trailer. Mm-hmm. You talked to several artists, artisans, or people in the business, of entertainment, and so forth. We could tell us a little bit about some of those guys.
Yeah, so the documentary production featured over 120, about 125 cast members across the countries, interviewed in 8 states, cities across America. And they are Nigerians living in America, non-Nigerians, African Americans, those who have adopted Nigeria as their own country now by the way of ancestry. You will see specific stories. One of them is the Queen Mother, Dolores Kahli, who is the Goodwill Ambassador to the United Nations and proudly African member in the diaspora. Dr. Oluyinka Olutoye, which is the first doctor to actually operate on a child, a fetus in the womb, successfully and return back the pregnancy. A feat, a scientific wonder that we have never seen before. Leaders in the Nigerian American community, various organizations in various industries, really given the opportunity to explore the Nigerian narrative from an holistic lens. As I mentioned, Nigeria has a perception issue, and people try to project or try to perpetuate stereotypes, and oftentimes we've not done a great job on reclaiming that narrative and story, and this is what the documentary is doing. I should also mention, in the United States, Nigerians are one of the most powerful immigrant groups in the country. If you look at Nigeria as is standing as the largest economy on the continent next to South Africa, if you look at Nigerian population as the largest black country in the world, so we think there's so much power there, and this documentary is the opportunity for us to show a different perspective to folks they might have never considered.
Now, the premiere is being held on Nigerian American Day, which is a significant event proclaimed by Mayor Bowser. Tell me how the timing of the premiere aligns with the mission and goals of the Nigerian Center.
So the theme for us at the Nigerian Center this year is telling our story. So this can be more perfect and aligned. And Nigerian American Day for us, the way we say it is whether you came to this great country 400 years ago, 40 years ago, or 4 years ago, we consider you Nigerian American. And we have some facts to back that up, because if you look at among the African diaspora, African Americans, Nigeria continues to rank the number one, the largest source of DNA ancestry for the global Black diaspora. If you look at our size in the United States as the largest Black immigrant group in the United States. So we think that day it's a special recognition of our contribution, of our numbers, of our community. We continue becoming and shaping the American cultural fabric. And I think that day is a special day for us. Also, if you look at the dual identity Nigerian American has, even and every Black person can relate with this. They might be saying you're not Nigerian enough, you're African enough, you are not American enough, you're not European enough. And I think this is a whole new frame and a whole new identity category that we are happy to help foster and architect, that everyone in the diaspora can walk with a sense of pride. Whether you are married to the culture, your DNA traced back to the culture, you are born from parents from the culture, there is now a day we can all celebrate as Nigerian American Day. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to premiere this documentary, because even folks within the Afro-Latino community, the curiosity about their African heritage, they can have a space for themselves in this documentary to reclaim that culture and say, I can see how this makes sense. Cultural practices all the way from Cuba, to Dominican Republic, you can see parallels to current day Nigeria.
Interesting. So quickly, let's go into some of the negative perceptions at the heart of this film. Are there what are some of the biggest misconceptions, right, about Nigerians and Africans you feel the documentary is addressing?
Well, I think for me, and I should be upfront, I am overly positive with Nigeria. You can never get me to say anything negative about Nigeria. I think the greatest misconception and negative with this documentary we try to address is the fact that as Nigerian ourselves, we've not done an excellent job in reclaiming and telling our story. And we've taken a neutral lens, and we've allowed stereotypes to fester and perpetuate, to the point that people begin to say, is this true or not? And Nigeria has this extremes, in the spectrum. There's this overarching love for anything Nigerian culture. And there's this challenge. People want to say, hey, let me be careful with these people. But for me, the greatest opportunity in this documentary comes down to me with 3 words: the Nigerian spirit. Really what animates the Nigerian that you see, the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they assert themselves, their authority, their presence. You begin to wonder, what is really the source of this animation, the source of this confidence, the source of this power? Whether you are born in Nigeria or born in the diaspora, and even if you haven't been to the country Nigeria, if you have any Nigerian trace in you, there is this distinction that where is this from? And it's not by coincidence. You see a lot of celebrities or public figures said, you know what, I finally traced my DNA and I can totally make sense where the superpower is coming from. So the superpower of being Nigerian is what this documentary is all about. You would hear, interestingly, how some people, the problems, the challenges they had to deal with is because they publicly identify as Nigerian. And you will hear some stories like my story, that the greatest thing that happened to me is because of my heritage, my identity, my cultural identity being Nigerian, and I'm proud of it. So I think that superpower, what animates the Nigerian spirit, is what you want to see in this documentary.
I love it. I love it. I love the positivity, So the Nigerian, let's talk about positivity now.
Okay.
The Nigerian diaspora has made significant contributions across various sectors in the U.S. Does the documentary highlight these contributions? And if so, what are some of those stories that you may want to share?
Absolutely. So in terms of the contribution, as I mentioned, that we are one of the most powerful immigrant groups in the United States. And one of the contribution is, in this particular White House administration, there are record numbers of Nigerians in this administration that we have never seen before. the president just constituted the African Diaspora Advisory Council. There's a number of representation in Nigeria. The group just visited Nigeria in itself. If you look at the medical field, for example, as I mentioned the story of Dr. Oluyinka Olutoye, who successfully operated upon a fetus, a baby in the womb, returning back without any complication. If you look at our contribution is academia, but can I say culture and Afrobeat, everywhere you go to now, there's this embrace of the Afrobeat culture, making it up to the highest echelon of industry success, Grammys, name it, that we see now like never before. So this is the contribution that we're making. But I would say I am significantly proud of the contribution of a sense of identity and belonging Nigeria has given to the global diaspora like never before. Wasn't too long ago, the queen or princess from the United Kingdom traced her ancestry back to Nigeria. There's a whole celebration around that. So I think we begin to see that now more than ever before, there is a reason for folks to identify with the country. And I would say that what I'm also proud of our contribution now is in record numbers, we are seeing American who have never set a foot on the Nigerian soil or on the continent by AfricanAncestry.com or 23andMe or whatever they did a DNA test. And now they're broadly proclaimed, I am Nigerian American, I am Nigerian, and I'm proud of my heritage. So for me, these are the contributions that we see that we continue to make to this great country.
That's excellent. So looking ahead, what are the future goals for the Nigerian Center in terms of whether it's other media projects or initiatives to help amplify the voice of the Nigerian diaspora?
So one of the things that I am very proud is that we are advancing Nigerian culture, even in Washington, D.C., for example, within DCPS, DC Public Schools. We are part of the CD Embassy Adoption Program, World Languages. Now than ever before, we're now seeing American children begin to learn about Nigerian culture, Nigerian languages. And this is very significant. It's significant because Nigeria is projected to be in 2050 the third largest country in the world. China, India, in the future it's not going to be the United States, it's going to be Nigeria. Population of over 300 million people. This puts us a cultural superpower. And it's important that as we educate American tomorrow's leaders, we're not just educating them on the reality of today, the language of today, the culture of today, but the language of the future. And Nigerian Center is leading that effort when it comes to culture, when it comes to education. Now, that has never seen before, if you are of African descent and you do your DNA test with a company like AfricanAncestry.com, you can now get African languages classes at the Nigerian Center.
Wow.
So we are significantly really preparing the American Black community and connecting them to their heritage in ways that we have never seen before. So we are just so proud to uplift the community, and October 1 is the Nigerian Independence Anniversary, is the Nigerian American Day. We just invite everyone to come and celebrate our great heritage.
Love it. Lastly, what are you most excited for the audience to experience during the premiere on October 1st? And how can the audience or people out there engage with the conversation after the screening?
I would say come reclaim your superpower. If you're Black, if you're Latino, if you identify with Africa, Afro-Latino, Nigerian in the diaspora, friends of Nigeria, lovers of Nigeria, even if you have any form of curiosity about these people that walk so tall and dominates the room and exerts their presence and know who they are, and that is something of interest to you, come and learn where all that is coming out from. So it's also going to be a day of celebration. There will be, we call it green carpet, not red carpet because of our green colors. There will be green carpets, there will be performances, live performances, cultural performances, musical performances. Our celebrities are coming from Nigeria across the country. We are going to see representations from the DMV, those in the pop culture, those in the sports, those in the academia. And I'm also should say that our community organizations like NAPAC, Nigerian American PAC, organizations like Nigerian Professional Group, organizations like UIU, organizations like NIDO, all these community organizations are all coming together to celebrate Nigeria. So if you're a lover of Nigeria, don't stand by, come on October 1st and celebrate with us.
Listen, Mr. Gbenga, I plan to be there, and I know it's going to be very exciting. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
You can't judge a book by its cover.
Perception, the Nigerian narrative, where truth transcends headlines.